Hello, everyone. Very logical day to all of you. So, this is the starting of a new week. As we did in the previous week, we were discussing a few root words or prefixes and suffixes. That means paying a little more attention to the words or how they are formed. That is the morphology of the word, right? So, we'll be continuing with this, of course, because now we should be more attentive to the words so as to improve our vocabulary. But then we need to be a little more analytical also in understanding what the author's point is. We do all the techniques of reading and all, right? We have come with prep. I have discussed prep most of the times. We come up with sequential points, taking out the points, and that is how you come to the central idea. That is, you should get into the habit of doing this. Apart from this, now you need to understand also a little more, like dissecting that article to come up with your own opinions and simultaneously understanding the author's opinion also, because there will be many places further on also where you need to form your opinions. Okay, gradually you need to develop that habit. So let's see what we can do and how the passages allow us to form our opinions, whether they do so or no. So 5th June, the Indian Express first editorial, that is lessons from Balasore. Now, the word itself would click that just 2 days back there was that accident, right? If you have been reading about the accident in the newspaper, read it carefully so that you can get the one would be where you get all the facts, right? So getting all the facts becomes an informative style, right? But then apart from that, you'll get more articles which are related to this, which would be questioning the railways, which would be questioning the government, which would be coming up with the lessons, hence analysis or critical. So getting lessons from it would be analytical. Telling only about Balasore, what the incident was, what the accident was, how many casualties, where they are taken, what is being done, all that would be informative, right? So reading about this would give you three things: the informative style passages, they would give you the analytical style passages where they are trying to understand how that mishap actually happened, right? And another, who all are responsible for this, the critical style. So, whatever articles you're reading about this topic will give you these three styles: informative, basic facts; analytical, understanding the components; and critical, which is giving the opinion about maybe what the government has done or what needs to be done in that way. Right? Come on, let us see what we have today. So, the crash involving the Chennai bound Coromandel Express, the SMBT Bangalore Howrah Express, and a goods train near Balasore in Odisha Friday is one of the worst train accidents in recent times. The death count at 275 and the number of injured at over 1,500 of them being treated at various hospitals underline, means emphasize, how so many lives have been changed forever. The tragedy's colossal sense of grief and loss. What is shown in this dark has been the speed and scale of the search and rescue operation. What is shown in this dark means something that is shining, right? That is bright. That means one positive point that we can see here in this dark. Dark is not optimism, but dark is something that is sad and grief, right? But then one positive point we get there, and that has been the speed and scale of the search and rescue operations. The institutional response, which involved personnel from the NDRF, the Army IAF, the fire services, ODRAF, as well as the local volunteers, all working round the clock to help pick up the pieces and to get operations back on track. What next is critical. Here comes the author's point. Here, critical would mean something that needs attention, something that is very important, very significant, crucial. Right? So, what next is critical and should be closely watched. अब इस पे ध्यान देना जरूरी है. ये रहा ऑथर का एक मेन पॉइंट. राइट. अब तक ऑथर ने क्या किया? द ऑथर वाज गिविंग यू द डिटेल्स, दैट मीन्स द रीजन, data, facts and figures. If you know, when we apply prep, we come up with the PR, that is the reasoning. The reasoning would mean including facts and figures, right? Here, this is one positive point that he gives. And what next is critical and should be closely watched becomes one point. How will responsibility be fixed? Will this tragedy prompt structural changes if needed? And most significantly, what will be the learnings from this? These are the questions raised by the author. That means these are the questions or these are the points on which the government is now going to or should work, and therefore the author is raising the questions कि ये सब कुछ होगा भी या नहीं. ठीक है, the question पूछना हमेशा ये नहीं होता है कि you will get a reply there or somebody is going to respond. No. Question is asked when there is a doubt in your mind whether this is going to happen or no, or what, whether this is important for the other person or no, right? So how will this responsibility be fixed? Will this tragedy prompt structural changes? मतलब इतनी बड़ी अगर एक मिसहैप इस दुर्घटना अगर इतना हुआ है, so who is responsible? One, this is to be identified. Second, now whether it needs changes or no. स्ट्रक्चरल चेंजेस, कॉस्मेटिक चेंजेस नहीं होते हैं, स्ट्रक्चर में चेंजेस आने चाहिए. कॉस्मेटिक का सुपरफिशियल चेंजेस होते हैं, राइट? नो, दैट इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड. यू नीड अ बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर दैट शुड बी चेंज्ड. विल दैट हैपन? If needed, ठीक है, not necessarily, but if the author has already given a disclaimer, that if it is needed, will the structural changes happen? And most significantly, what will be the learnings from this? And that is where the author comes up, that what do you learn from this? From this mishap, what can the government learn or what should it learn? Of late, the Indian Railways has seen a visible improvement on various parameters. For 23-24, its capital outlay was pegged at a staggering rupees 2.4 lakh crore. It has also undergone a massive electrification drive in recent years, with around 90% of its routes being electrified. As per official estimates, accidents per million train kilometers have declined from so and so. The number of derailments has also gone down, as have accidents at level crossings. In its performance audit on derailment in Indian Railways, Comptroller Auditor General of India had noted that around 75% of the 217 consequential train accidents were due to derailments. Now, all this data, the second part of the paragraph is all data. That means reasoning. Reasoning for the single point that it has stated here again, a visible improvement on various parameters. Right? So, understanding this part of the passage as first, the data was given to show that this is the incident that has happened. Now, what? One positive point, all are working round the clock. Okay. But what next? Important to be noticed. Second, he says that, see, otherwise the railway was working fine. It was on an uptrend, going this, improving. Number of accidents decreasing. Majorly, now he comes up here, 75% of the accidents happening due to derailment. तो धीरे 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 विद डेटा वो हमें लेके जा रहा है उस पॉइंट पे कि डीरेलमेंट इसका रीजन हो सकता है. देखते क्या होता है, right? So now when you're reading, suppose this was a passage in your test and you're reading this, the second part of the paragraph, not necessary to read all the numbers, only point was a visible improvement, and then you understood that the author is giving you the facts and figures to establish this point. But then you catch the basics of language and you get, okay, fine, derailments has gone down, but then 75% of the derailments of the accidents were due to derailments. That means a little lopsided one कि majorly cause क्या आ रहा है, यहाँ पर derailment आ रहा है. Let's continue here. And one of the major factors responsible for derailments was, तो derailment तो हुआ, अब जो factor है उसके लिए, it was the maintenance of the tracks. Now see how they narrowed down to the reason of these accidents. Attention has now turned to what could have led to the Odisha derailment. तो पूरा डेटा देने का उसका रीजन ही यही था ना, तभी तो हम उसको रीजनिंग या रैशनल बोलते हैं कि वो है क्या, डेटा देते क्यों है, ताकि उनकी पॉइंट्स स्ट्रांग हो जाए और he will be able to state his point now. That if derailment is the matter here, then possible that derailment was the cause of this accident also. And why derailment? Because of the maintenance of tracks. There's a problem there now. The exact cause will be known only after the inquiry by the Commissioner of Railways is completed. However, Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnav said Sunday that the root cause of the accident and the people responsible for it have been identified. He has suggested a link to the change in the machine that decides the configuration of the track. उसे ये कहा था मेंटेनेंस ऑफ ट्रैक्स पे उसका पॉइंट गया था तभी वो डीरेलमेंट हो रहा है एंड नाउ ही इज सेइंग द कॉन्फ़िगरेशन ऑफ द ट्रैक so there has been a change in the machine that decides the configuration. Now see he's coming up to he's narrowing down his thought to some reason of why this accident has happened. This is according to the author, right? The exact report will be only after the investigative only after the authorities give. Now, considering delays in the past, as per the CAG report, in 63% cases, the inquiry reports were not submitted to the accepting authority within the prescribed timelines. Inquiry reports were not submitted. And in 49% of the cases, there was a delay in accepting the report. So the inquiry into Friday's accident should be comprehensive. But it should be including everything. Comprehensive is all encompassing, vast. Thorough, uska meaning आ गया, comprehensive का, and independent. It should not be taking or depending on any other thing. Very objectively, it should be investigating this, the reason and responsible person or department. Then it needs to be promptly put forth in the public domain for wider discussion and analysis. This is what the author is saying. एक उसका investigation independent होना चाहिए, not forced by any person, any authority, any ministry, whatever it is. Right? It should be objective. Second, whatever be the reports should be given to the public domain so that the people know about the exact cause and they can think and they can discuss and analyze. Now, it should also inform and determine the institutional response to this tragedy. ठीक है उन्होंने आइडेंटिफाई तो कर लिया लेकिन ये इंस्टीट्यूशन रेलवेज इज एन इंस्टीट्यूशन नो लाइक huge one. How are they going to respond to it? This should also be made public. So, as the government works to build the railway infrastructure, as the formidable ramp up of Vande Bharat across the country becomes a key element of this, lessons from Balasore need to be understood. So what is required now? Why? Because they are working well in the direction of upgrading and updating the railways. So they need to keep some more things in their mind. More importantly, they should be acted upon. So, with fairness and transparency, accountability needs to be fixed, howsoever high that process may reach. That means in this level, the vertical management level, whoever is the responsible person should be held responsible for what he or she was doing or did not do. Right? So that is what he's saying, howsoever high that process may reach. That is the only way to pay tribute to the lives lost and impaired by Friday's tragedy. For infrastructure upgrade means little if it doesn't mean an upgrade in the quality of life and its safety. This comes the parting note of the author. This is his main essence or point. ये सिर्फ एक main central idea नहीं आएगा, but this is the essence or this is the major point, right? The central idea will be including what we did in the first two paragraphs, right? One was the plus thing. Second, this incident or the investigation of this incident is very critical. We need to learn many things from this because because the root cause should be known through that investigation. The reports should be comprehensive, and then the lessons to be learned needs to be should also then again needs to understand and accountability is to be fixed. देखो उसे चारों चीजें कर दी है. You can see the notes that I've made here. Right? Needs to be understood here. It needs to be understood, should also inform and determine, again needs to be understood, and then accountability needs to be fixed. So now if you can see these, the dots that I have made and the dots that I have joined, it comes down to one thing, that the investigation should be important, independent, important, quick inquiry honi chahiye, and then it should actually catch hold of the person or the department who is responsible very objectively. And then from all this, what the government needs to do now, what should be done and what needs to be done. So lessons are to be learned from this incident here. Then if there was a question on, say, essence of the passage, तो फिर ये आ जाएगा, infrastructure upgrade means little if it doesn't mean an upgrade in the quality of life and its safety. कई बार से summary नहीं आती है, essence आता है, or rather philosophical one in that way, abstract one. So I hope you have understood these 2 points, 2 or 3 major points. If I include these points here, the government must fix the responsibility. You can understand what needs to be done. Last part of the paragraph mein tha, needs to be done, right? And should also do. Then only then infrastructure upgrade will be meaningful. So this becomes the last line. Because if they are only improving in the infrastructure, you need to come up with making it safe also. उसे कहा अपग्रेड तो कर लेंगे, पर अपग्रेड के साथ साथ सेफ्टी मेजर्स भी होने चाहिए. You need to focus on the safety part also, right? So these 2 points linked together make the main idea, the central idea. Now let us see what we have in the vocabulary section. So colossal is something that is huge, massive. We get this word here again, massive. So colossal is huge. If I give you the simpler words, huge, large, enormous, right? But then if I give you the better words, it will be colossal, it will be behemoth, massive तो है ही सही, and इसमें mammoth कर सकते हैं, humongous हो सकता है, humongous, right? Something that is very huge. Shown in this dark, I gave you something that was very bright amidst sorrow, right? Amidst dark, or some positive in the negative. So everything is negative there, sadness, sorrow, grief, lament, सब कुछ है. एक बात जो अच्छी वहां पे दिखाई दी वो ये था, the how those people were working, everybody together, right? That was a positive point of it. Prompt is something that is very brisk. ठीक है, एकदम से brisk mainly हम walk के लिए use करते हैं, walk, a brisk walk in the morning, right? But then prompt is swift, brisk, एकदम से, immediate, right? A prompt reply. ठीक है, prompt reply मतलब एकदम, so actively हो जाए, instantaneous हो सकता है. Pegged is something that is positioned to. We have done this maybe 2, 3, positioned to or fixed. Right, we have done this word 2, 3 months back. अगर जो follow कर रहा है उसे तो अब ये याद हो गया होगा word कि pegged का meaning क्या होता है, और peg का meaning वैसे भी है ना, जिसे हम हिंदी में खूंटी कहते हैं ना, something that to hang, that is called a peg. So it is a fixed position. Staggering growth हो सकती है. Now staggering could be multiple meanings. Here it would be something that is increasing, something according to, say, unbelievable जो हो सकता है वो भी मीनिंग होता है. सो यू कैन बी bemused, इट कुड बी लाइक perplexed, यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड हाउ इट इज ग्रोइंग. तो स्टैगरिंग ग्रोथ हो सकता है. दूसरा स्टैगरिंग वॉक भी हो सकता है, मतलब लड़खड़ा कर चलना जब होता है वो भी स्टैगरिंग हो सकता है, रुक रुक के. ठीक है, so in that way it has multiple meanings, so you can apply the meaning contextually whenever it comes in the paragraph. Massive, I said, is similar to colossal. But then massive me, you get a word that is mass, right? Now, if you consider this a root word, so mass is where it has a lot of matter. So if I give you the words here, it would be masses, matlab public, general, common people will be the masses, right? En masse means considering everything together. Amass, you would amass wealth, मतलब इकट्ठा करना, गैदर करना, ठीक है? तो मास का मीनिंग ही गैदर करना आ जाएगा. Combined together, many things together would be the masses or the en masse. Configuration is how the thing is made, right? Assemble हम कर लेते हैं. सिंपल वर्ड असेंबल इसलिए रहेगा क्योंकि कॉन का मीनिंग अनदर वर्ड राइट कॉन आई थिंक सो आई गेव यू दिस प्रीफिक्स द अदर डे सो कॉन मीन्स टू जॉइन और कमिंग टुगेदर उस दिन बहुत सारे वर्ड्स थे तब मैंने दिया था आई रिमेम्बर जस्ट 3-4 days बैक ओनली आई थिंक सो जॉइन टुगेदर एंड द वर्ड आई हैड गिवन यू वाज कॉन्फ्लुएंस कॉन्ग्रीगेशन जिसने नहीं लिखा है वो ये लिख लेंगे and then what you can do is when you're reading the other articles also reading a lot you have to read that is the bottom line so when you get words with con as a prefix kindly note it down and I suggested that day also that you read this keep this word in the center and try making a sun diagram to it right so you can write all those words around it फिगरेटिव स्टाइल होता है फिगर्स ऑफ स्पीच होता है फिगरेटिव लैंग्वेज होती है तो फिगर का मतलब क्या हुआ समथिंग दैट इज गिविंग यू अ साइन और अ सिंबल राइट दैट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ फिगर कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव मीनिंग हो जाता है वास्ट राइट फॉर्मिडेबल हाइट्स होते हैं तो फॉर्मिडेबल हाइट्स ऑफ द माउंटेन समझो राइट सो इट इज अ टास्क दैट इज वेरी थ्रेटनिंग so formidable will be like threatening or intimidating. Intimidating heights of the mountains or threatening heights of the mountains. So formidable behavior होता है. You unapproachable, right? Formidable personality. कई लोग ऐसा होता है we just can't approach them and talk to them. Right? ऐसा लगता है पता नहीं क्या है ना you feel very uneasy to talk to those people though they have a formidable personality. No nonsense attitude होता है you just can't go up to them and speak to them. So formidable would be anything that is keeping you away from him. So these are the words that we have today, and I hope you have your set of words. थोड़े बहुत इतने भी हैं. Read and yes, not only this article, you need to read the rest of the articles suggested on the group also, and then whatever difficult words you get, write them down in your notebook. Make this a daily exercise so that you will see that you will, of course, improve in your reading skills. That's the point and that's the basic objective. So that's all for today and see you tomorrow and have a very logical day ahead.